For this podcast to get over. Original song, Don't Steal.
Do not steal. It is we're copywriting it.
This is constitute a copyright, original creative material.
Yep. We will take your ass to court. We have the best lawyer. So don't try us.
I've already got a beef with Mr. Dawson and his creek.
No man can own a creek. It's ridiculous. It's a navigable waterway.
And who names their child after a body of water?
Yeah, who would do that?
Well, technically it's their surname. Whose family's surname is a body of water?
Yeah, that's how that goes. That's the order that happened in, right?
Ross Lake, Michigan over here.
Yeah, include the lake. It's definitely not just Michigan, for sure. It's got to have the lake. Otherwise, how do you know?
Well, would you rather be Lake Superior?
Well,
yes.
I mean, if the shoe fits, Rhett. If the shoe fits.
What kind of body of water would you be named after, Jason?
Probably a river.
Oh, a river's pretty cool. Rivers could be pretty cool. Actually, it brought up an interesting point that we discussed earlier, since this podcast is mostly nonsense. What fictional advertising character would you like to have come to life? My answer is Count Chocula. Because he's actually an eternal vampire, but he feeds on delicious chocolate cereal.
God, who would I like?
I'd have to. I'm a huge Muppets fan, so Kermit the Frog.
Well, advertising character.
They were advertising characters for a very long time before they got their own show.
I'm going to say the Trix Rabbit because I want to shoot him.
You want to hunt the Trix Rabbit?
Yep, I do.
You know, you could get Tony the Tiger. He's great at every sport.
Yeah, that's true.
He would just dominate. What are you going to discriminate
children
against sentient cartoon tigers?
Yeah, you jerks.
You bunch of douches.
Where? Show me in the rules where it says I can't have.
No, you show me. You show me, pal. All right?
It is the DG podcast. We have a new intro called the Dawson's Creek theme.
90108.
For our lives to be over. It's either that I jump between songs that I just randomly sing to people I run into. My fallback is Seal's
Kiss from the Rose.
Kiss from a Rose. Yes.
It's because it came from a banger movie.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Jim Carrey's finest acting role. Actually, what is Jim Carrey's finest acting role? I would probably say Truman Show, if I'm going to be honest.
Truman Show was amazing.
There's a lot of subtlety to what he does in that movie.
Yeah. I thought he did pretty well in The Majestic. The story was kind of but
it was a commentary on Hollywood's canceling people because of communism.
I'm going to say Dumb and Dumber because, it's my favorite.
I didn't say what's your favorite movie. I said what's the best. His best
well,
acting
it is his
role.
best. I believe he is a true moron. What's wrong with that?
Uh-huh. Well,
he
way
really
to just
sold it to me.
avoid the question.
Rhett, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I've seen a singular one of Jim Carrey's serious movies. Why would I do that to myself? Why?
Well, those of us with refined and the refined taste where we consume these films with a pinky up, sipping the finest sparkling grape juice.
Yes. Only the finest.
Good Lord. Well, it's a podcast. If you haven't noticed, look, there's a lot of topics going out this week. I'm just going to say that right now. The big discussions are the Harry Potter trailer
Yep.
and Mr. Snape, which we were aware of beforehand. We will be discussing that.
Right.
Also, the other big news is Stephen Colbert, Mr. Stephen Colbert, who is losing his show because of bad ratings, but somehow is qualified to write a film. That'll be an enjoyable conversation. But I'm pushing all of that
yes.
to the side because everybody's probably already talked about it. We will have our own takes. I actually have something interesting to bring up, something new. We have had our big discussion about the sort of the state of gaming and consoles, but we've had a lot of massive news to come out this week in relation to what's happening in the console, well, what's happening in gaming in general. And it sparked this big conversation of, well, what exactly is going on? Which me and Ross actually kind of tried to wrap our minds around sort of the state of the gaming industry, and it's been quite difficult because things ain't looking so good.
No, Mr. Stark, they're not looking good.
No, Mr. Stark. So a lot of this early discussion is sparked by one specific news article from Industry Biz. You had John and Brenda Romero, who were basically old school people involved in the gaming industry, who were there for the last major crash, and they had some interesting things to say. The last year was something of an annus horribilis for Romero Games. Faced with a sudden funding rug pull, the studio had to downsize dramatically, but it's still hanging in there. Romero Games was set up in Galloway, Ireland, just over a decade ago by John and Brenda Romero, Game's foremost power couple. John, of course, is most well known for his pioneering work in Doom in the 90s, the game that helped kickstart the first-person shooter genre, while Brenda has an enormously long list of credits. Games like Jagged Alliance and Wizardry 8. Speaking to GameIndustry.biz, ahead of Game Republic's Dark and Doomy event in the Wakefield last week, John and Brenda reflected on hardships they face. I feel like the industry's in a horrible place. I mean, we were there in the 80s for the crash, and this is definitely crashier. There are so few people that have not been affected, or their partners have been affected, or they've worried about being affected. It's really a difficult time right now. Both agree that it's a difficult to see how it will end. John points out that Battlefield 6 did really, really well, only for EA to make layoffs in the studio behind it. I don't understand what that's all about. Brenda's confident that people are going to keep playing games, which I agree. This is really one of those times where I don't know, and you hear behind the scenes there's tremendous push towards teams using generative AI. Let's see. I know we're going to be okay, yada, yada, yada. But it's actually really been a terrible year for games across the board. And though they go on to comment on how they feel that things are just worse than they've ever been, you start to go, well, I mean, honestly, look at the state of Xbox and PlayStation. But then it's like, oh, well, things aren't so bad. The PlayStation 5, for which never happens, is actually increasing in price.
Yeah.
A 5-year-old console is going up in price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. PS5 is going, let's see, $550. It looks like we're adding about $50, if not $100. The PS5 Pro is going to $900.
Oh my god.
Oh. That's ridiculous.
Portal's going up 50. It looks like the PlayStation 5 base is going up 100. The digital version is going up 100. The PS5 Pro is going up 150.
Hey.
You're like, well, that's just a minor side case. I don't know what you're talking about. Things are going fine. What's the biggest video game right now in gaming?
Oh god, it's either like CSGO or Fortnite.
Yeah, Epic Games has laid off a quarter of their company.
It's a good sign. It's really good.
The Fortnite people with the biggest, most successful game right now, has dumped 1,000 people.
God damn. They had
This
1,000
week-
people to dump? Jesus.
More than apparently 1,000 people, but the layoff is due to a downturn in Fortnite engagement that started in 2025. A downturn over 1 year requires laying off a quarter of your staff. And this is the game that's doing really well.
Mm.
But then it reminds me of all of the problems we've had in recent years. You sit there and you hear, oh, massive layoffs at studios owned by Microsoft. Oh, massive layoffs at studios owned by EA. Oh, Ubisoft practically had to sell themselves in order to stay
they
afloat to China. And you're like, well, no, it's not that bad. Think about it. Some of the biggest failures in not just gaming, but pop culture across the board have happened in gaming in the past while. Concord is a massive, massive, massive failure, costing Sony hundreds of millions of dollars with zero return. Zero, because the game went away.
Mm-hmm.
Highguard completely crapped the bed and is gone.
Yep.
They purged their website. The game doesn't exist. They have deliberately refunded people who owned it digitally because of how bad that thing turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody talks about how Skull and
Well,
Bones was a huge investment by Ubisoft, and that went nowhere, despite the fact we will eventually become a Skull and Bones podcast.
Yes, it will
Yeah.
happen. It is inevitable, like death and taxes.
Death and Taxes, the DG
You don't-
podcast, will rewrite
yeah.
itself as a Skull and Bones podcast. Silver has joined us. Oh no!
Oh my god.
Dear God.
Welcome, girl. Anyway, people are going to make comments on things.
I was going to say, you don't sell your soul to the devil when things are going well.
Probably not. I do sell it to the devil to have people forget who I am, so I can remain anonymous, though. I call it the Peter Parker style.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, reference.
Anyway, what are you thinking, Ross?
Yeah, because I found, and I just sent it to you on your phone, but I found a chart that goes over, like, the y-axis is revenue and the x-axis is player count, best as we know.
Sure.
And Fortnite doesn't have the most players, but it is by far and away the best as far as revenue goes.
Dude, Candy Crush.
Yeah, Candy Crush is gonna be tough to beat. But like nobody comes close. I think the closest the one that comes closest is Genshin Impact, which isn't that like a gacha game? Isn't that like gambling?
I don't know. I've downloaded on PS5 and
No.
I've played it a little bit, but it could get worse as time goes on. I don't know.
But yeah, so I mean, if that's that guy, the guy making all the money is having to lay off a quarter, which a quarter of their staff being 1,000 people, insane. But I don't know. That's not a good sign. Bad sign. Really bad.
Well, Jason, you might go, but Nintendo's doing well, right? The Switch 2
From
is
what I
that
can
they're
see,
actually decreasing production of the Switch 2 because of low sales.
I mean,
that
we're
doesn't
in what
surprise me at all.
the 5th or 6th year of the Switch 2? Oh wait, no, just the first year. Uh-oh.
Did you know console sales are so bad that they're about as bad as console sales were in like 95, 96?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
No. And this isn't just the console market. Ask yourself how a lot of these established brands are shaking themselves apart. We had a really bad Call of Duty recently. Just a bad Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it did not do well. It pissed people off actively.
But you're still going to sit here and be like, no, everything's doing fine. Well, Phil Spencer has been gone. and we have a completely new CEO from their AI division. We've heard rumors that they're going to include AI in the Xbox, where you could talk to your Xbox and ask the AI questions and help with your games, which sounds like it's going to really help your bandwidth and processing. No, that's fine. Despite that, Asha Sharma has actually come out and said that she wants to reset Xbox's brand image.
Oh.
I mean, they probably need to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
skeptical as to whether or not they could pull it off, considering the new person isn't in gaming.
Well, a good way to reset the brand is maybe bring back an old friend, bring back a familiar face and give him a fresh paint of coat and put him out there for people to see. Oh man, we love this guy. This reminds me of the good old days. Thank God they're remaking Halo CE again and now releasing it on PlayStation.
Oh.
That's a good sign, isn't it?
Did you know that Microsoft has erased the controversial "This is an Xbox" marketing campaign?
Wow.
It's no longer a thing. They got rid of it.
You know what? Here's my hot take.
Uh-huh.
Bad idea. And I hated that. I thought it was a bad idea then. I think it's... But you know what I think it was? I think it was ahead of its time. And not in a good way. I think if they had done that 5 years from now, it would be whatever. But they came out too fast. Just like all the always online crap for consoles with the Xbox One. I think they knew where it was going. They just came out too early. And they shot themselves in the foot and disgusted people.
The first person over the wall is the one that takes the most bullets.
Mm-hmm.
A Microsoft spokesman said that Asha retired the "This is an Xbox" campaign because it didn't feel like Xbox. She's personally leading a reset of how we show up as a brand. Sure. But where does this go? I mean, Xbox, if anything, has increased prices of Game Pass, increased prices of the console, and still hasn't been able to successfully catch up with the other two. And you might ask yourself, well, what are they doing wrong? It's a good console. What are they doing wrong? Well, their games are bad. There's just there's nothing there that'll bring everybody to the yard, if you will.
Well,
Cap Cruise says that it's an AI Navi. Hey, listen. That'll go over well.
Yeah, really well. I mean, and we've talked about this before, but I mean, compare this era, because genuinely, this might be the best. I had really good luck with my original Xbox console.
Yeah.
It was probably the most reliable thing until this one. The Series X has been really good. I think its feature set's great. The menus are really good. It's powerful enough. I never noticed any problems. But it has nothing. I mean, compared to the 360 era, which was the least reliable console I've ever owned. I mean, PS3 had struggles that era too, and nobody remembers them really, because the Red Ring of Death was so ubiquitous, was so ever present. But what 360 did have was a really good Xbox Live architecture and exclusives.
Yeah,
something that PS3 did not have.
No, not until late in the gen.
Way late, and it helped them pull it out. I think the only thing that saved the PS3 early on was that it was a Blu-ray player. Had it not had that, I don't know. I'm not sure how well it would have done. Well, it may have done just as well because it would have been so much cheaper, but I don't know.
Well, especially as late in that generation, the 360 really showed its age, and the PS3 games were looking better and better.
Yes. Yeah.
It was funny. I saw somebody make a comment online where they were talking about images from GTA 6. And they were like, look at the comparison between GTA 6 and GTA 5. GTA 6 makes GTA 5 look like a PS3 game, and it's like it was a PS3 game.
Good news.
Wait a minute.
Hey, you nailed it. Good guess, huh?
And in fact, it looked amazing.
It was a very good-looking game. I mean, look, I'm not a huge Last of Us fan, but that game looked incredible. And frankly, the PS3 version still looks great.
Still looks good. It really
Yep.
does.
It really does. That console came into its own at the very end of the generation.
How about more news to indicate things are going well? Here is PS6 and Project Helix will likely start at about 50% higher than the current gen.
Oh my
Predicts
god.
analysts. You could see a $999 console
Yikes.
when the Pro is at $900 at the moment.
You know, back in the day, before the dark times of the COVID, when graphics cards were impossible to find, and now these days when RAM is apparently good as gold, you just, you get to the point. Imagine 2018, and these guys were going like, "Yep, this generation is going to be, $999. Can you believe it?" People will just go like, "Well, I'm going to build a PC for $200 more, and it'll be just as powerful, if not better." But the problem is now is that you can't build that PC.
Nope.
You can't build that anymore. Not even if you scrounge and look for sales and deals on Newegg. I don't think that's possible. So,
Well, it obviously a clickbaity article title to
yes.
the podcast, but let me
Yes.
at least set a tone for you. We're looking down the road of an industry that is declining, in at least in the console era. Nintendo are reducing production of the Switch 2.
mhm.
The PlayStation 5 is increasing its price. A 5-year-old console is increasing its price. The Xbox has done so poorly, it's increased its price before and increased Game Pass, which is one of the big motivators to play on Xbox. Because even if the current gen games aren't anything to snuff at, you at least had backlogs for Game Pass.
Yep.
But now it's even more, and it's harder even to justify that as a purchase.
Mhm.
We look at major game companies doing poorly, either massive layoffs, shutting down studios, merging studios. We're looking at, Ubisoft alone is a massive indicator of the state of things. They can't come out with a guaranteed hit like they used to with Call of Duty, where Call of Duty used to come out and it was just successful. The last one was such a failure, it affected their stock price. And you might be sitting here, Rhett, but remember Helldivers. Helldivers did great. Well, it did, but these are drops in the buckets compared to the state of the industry that seems to be pricing out consumers. We know from data that most people buy maybe one game a year, that the vast majority of people that play are playing 4 or 5 games. Huge studios are shutting down or firing huge. How many weeks have we had this for the past couple of years doing this podcast where it's like, well, more people fired from this studio. Well, more people fired from this studio.
Oh yeah.
How many times do we have to report this before people realize that there is a shaking of the industry? Now,
Yeah.
by this, I mean, let's look back at 83? Was it 83 with the crash
I think so.
of the video game industry before?
I think
They were shoving out too much slop from third-party companies that were just regurgitating same games and putting different labels on it. It was like printing money because people would buy anything that was released because the game industry was going nuts. But eventually, this was a housing market crash of epic proportions that they all could see. That there was funny business going in the top end, that things were getting shoved out. They were putting too many games at too low a quality. And currently, I can't see that things are that different. Think about it. Things are getting more expensive, not just because of video card prices, because of mining of cryptocurrency, which is finally kind of stabilized, as RAM prices have gone out the roof because of AI generation, and electricity costs are getting higher. And now there's been concerns for quite some time when it comes to processors, because processors are kind of in shaky ground. And then we have shaky economic situations with tariffs, oil. Who knows what's going to happen with Taiwan? You think Taiwan getting invaded is going to help gaming? It's going to go really badly. Taiwan produces 90% of microprocessors, which is in everything. Do you think they're going to make a PS6 if Taiwan gets invaded? PS6 stops being a thing because they won't be able to keep up production, because suddenly a massive war shuts off your ability to get access to microprocessors. There are a myriad of issues that are also causing shakiness with increased price, issues with the economy. And then add on to this, there's less money that people are really committing to these things. Most people spend their money on 4 or 5 games. I mean, think about a current price game. The game doing really well right now, Crimson Desert. That game's like $80. If you're not doing well financially, that feeds you for a week, if not more.
Oh, if not more. Yeah, if you're single, I mean, that could be your whole month.
Yeah.
Depending on what you eat.
Yeah.
But
and
games are getting more expensive because AAA and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah.
Oh.
And we can't afford them because they're getting more expensive. Sorry, Ross, you were going to say?
No, and the reality is, like, because I was telling you, because we were talking about that game earlier today, it's like, listen, that game looks interesting, but I'm not spending $70 or $80 on a game from the people that made the MMO Black Desert, and now they've made a single-player game. Like, I don't trust that. Sorry.
As delicious as it sounds.
Yeah, it's delicious. I'm just not gonna risk it. Sorry, can't do that.
These are reasonable decisions that people make. We've talked about before that. I mean, going to the movie theater is becoming cost prohibitive. It's becoming more expensive.
Yep.
These are problems that are showing up in the industries where it's like, well, we'll increase price of stuff, and it's like at some point we're just going to decline. And I don't want to reduce this because we know this is a problem. The games are just getting worse, especially AAA. They are, but there is more going on that we're struggling to see. And there's a bloat here of I don't know if it's sustainable sort of situation.
No.
And we might already be seeing the housing collapse or being in the midst of it as things start to skyrocket in price and then less people are buying. Now, does this sound conspiratorial? I'm not trying to be Tim Pool here and everything's a civil war. But what I am trying to say is think about it for a second. Do you actually spend that much money on gaming? Are you buying multiple games a year? Or are you just getting a subscription service?
Oh.
Not new games.
Not new games.
Yeah, I'm buying lots of old games for my Xbox and maybe some PlayStation 2 stuff.
And weirdly enough, there is a trend of people going to older stuff, more analog stuff. There's weirdly a trend of young people getting Walkmans and listening to tapes.
Good Lord.
Yeah. It might just be a trend and attraction, but it's like, I mean, there's literally a clause in Sony stuff that when you buy a game, it's written out clearly that you don't actually own it, even if you buy physically.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty standard for any type of software.
Well, it's a lot more explicitly that they're like, yeah, you don't own any of this. And consumer rights being what they are, we're losing a lot of the, I bought something, but I don't really possess it. I'm just licensing it from you.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the streaming era has hastened the day.
Sure.
Yeah. What's even funnier about the end user license agreements, as they're called, most of them have some clause in there that says that that it basically that it's just software. It really doesn't do anything, just so that you can't claim that you bought this software and you wanted it to do X and it doesn't do X. In their end user license agreement, they'll point to a clause that says, "See, it says it doesn't actually do that, even though that's why you bought it." It's just so that they can cover their butts in the case of a lawsuit.
Sure.
Like if someone's too stupid to operate it.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's say the software has a bug in it that ends up deleting your bank account, something like that. You can't really say, I bought this banking software. The company says, well, it's actually not banking software. See, it says it in the license agreement that everybody just clicks on yes and doesn't actually read.
well, let's get back to the game industry. Things are getting weird. Layoffs of 1,000 people is huge for Epic Games, especially when they are sort of a winner right now when it comes to revenue.
Yeah.
And you're like, but
I mean, that's serious for just about any industry. 1,000 people getting laid off,
it's
but
a quarter of the
that's
company.
one company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of a dip in Fortnite.
Yeah. Not even that it's failed. It's just a dip.
Console sales are the worst they've been since 95, 96.
And maybe because we've talked about now the hero shooter, right? And when we were talking about it before, we were talking about it because, games like Concord and then later High Guard have failed. And it's like, well, you're chasing a trend that's no longer there. But maybe what was actually happening was they were chasing a market that's like they're making too much for the market and there's not enough demand. It's not that it's the trend is gone per se.
Market
It's
saturation.
It's that it's just you're making a thing that like who has time for this? Because well, I have the one, I don't need it. Like we don't need another American truck manufacturer. We've got enough. There's enough people making trucks. We don't need another one.
And we've talked about this before, where the cost to move over from a game that you've already sunk so many hours into, they've got to really make it worth your while. I've got to know when I'm coming over to your game that I've sunk 80 hours into this other game and I've got all the skins and all the achievements and stuff. Is it really going to be worth my while to start over from level 1?
I mean that's an interesting point. I think most of the time, they chase where the trend is. So most players will actually run from one shooter to another based upon where everybody's going. You'll find like everybody playing Call of Duty, and then the new Battlefield comes out, and then they all kind of shift over.
But there is kind of an expectation that going over to that will be worth the effort.
Well, sure. I mean, Battlefield 6 was successful for a reason. The last Black Ops was not for a reason. That doesn't mean they're gonna switch over. But when they do, they tend to drag the majority of the people with them.
Well, and like Romero said, like even though it was successful, Battlefield 6, I mean, they still had to lay people off.
Yeah.
And
we should start to ask like what's going on in the industry.
Yeah, like maybe you're spending too much on things and not getting enough for like whether it's this game or whether it's your company as a whole, whether it's other projects that you're pursuing. Maybe this market cannot hold what you're trying to do.
Well, and bloated budgets are definitely a big factor, but we're also not seeing sales. Like they're spending more and more on bigger and bigger games that are selling less and less.
Yeah.
It's almost like, and it's funny, some of the biggest failures, like I said before, are happening as we're having a massive decline.
Yeah, and it's easy to look at the economy aspect of things, but then sales weren't this bad when the housing market shit its pants in 2008.
No.
By any means.
No.
So it's like, I'm sure it's a part of it, no doubt, but it was going on before, right? Like, I don't know, it's weird.
I would say that there's probably, obviously there is an economic aspect, because if your prices are going up everywhere, you're looking to economize, so you're not spending as much because your dollar just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. But I think that there's also been so many failures recently in the video game. I mean, there's also from the economic perspective of the game company, their budgets have gone so overboard that they need to basically have a surefire bomb that everybody buys in order to just make a little bit of money. You know what I mean? It's almost like they're they're spending themselves into a problem here.
Sure.
And then because there have been so many issues with games that have been coming out being not as fun, being super buggy, there's been a lot more hesitancy to even invest in games. I shouldn't say invest because it's not like they go up in value for the most part. But why would I put my money into your new shiny game if I'm not sure that it's worth my money? Where I could go back and buy a game that's 20 years old that I know is going to be worth my money because it's only a couple bucks over on Steam now.
Well, and we've analyzed these things to exhaustion about how they're spending too much money and
Yeah.
the games are bad. But then this is also a factor in the movie industry. They're spending too much money
Yeah.
and the movies are bad. And I don't want to be hyper reductive because it seems like there's more to this. Almost like people are spending less on entertainment than just bad quality stuff. And it doesn't have to be a simple answer. It could be all of the above. But there feels like a linchpin that we're not touching. That it's not just bloated movies or bloated games. It's not just bad quality, that they're just not making stuff people want to enjoy. It's not just the industry's changing and it's morphing into something else that we might be in a transitional period. It's not just the failure of a lot of these industries that gone woke, so to speak, or the DEI stuff. Bad management, the hiring a bunch of people, pushing it out, and then firing a bunch of people. Like all of these can be true, but it feels like we're looking at some sort of economic bubble that can't be cruising in the same direction it has been. And it can't just be they're making bad stuff. Something else has to be happening because we are spending less and less. We are spending so much less than we used to 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And the game industry is supposed to be the biggest ever.
Yeah, and Rhett, you and I were talking, and I threw out the idea, well, maybe they're switching over to, because we were kind of focusing on the consoles, right? Because that's where we have some good data.
Sure.
Well, maybe they're going to maybe they're going to from console to PC. Maybe that's it.
Sure.
And I looked up some vague data initially, and there has been an increase in Steam users, like monthly user activity. There's been a considerable increase, but then I found another bit of data, and it was interesting because it showed, and again, this is all very rough. This is not a precise science here. Like where they're from, right? Like if they're English speakers, or somewhere else, and they have it listed like it's a bar graph per year, and then different colored sections of the bar graph. Well, hey, guess which language section has had the most increase over the last few years, since 2017?
I don't know.
China.
Yeah.
And the problem with so my initial idea, and then the perhaps maybe the data was supporting initially, well, that's not being supported now, because look, if the English bar was going up, there might be something there. But the problem is the China color is going up, and that makes no sense, because consoles were banned in China until 2015. 2015 is in the exact smack dab middle, basically, of the 8th gen consoles. The ones that sold not as good as the previous generation. So that makes no sense. Maybe it's not that then. So they're not just going from console to PC, as my initial not theory, but idea. My initial thought was, because if it's China, well, they've had no impact on, up until 10 years ago, they had no impact on gaming. So
well, and if PCs are draining all of the players to PC, you can't make a PC anymore. I mean, they're so dang expensive to make a really good one. RAM has doubled, tripled, or whatever. Video cards are still quite expensive. I mean, to see enough of an increase to be draining the rest of the industry would have to be confusing that they're also spending premium prices on building these things.
Yeah, and the only thing if let's just say that was the case, which I don't think it is, based on the new set of numbers I got, it would have to be because of the games, because the variety of games and like if you want to play an indie game, you're playing it on a PC most likely. Some of them do make it to console, but especially the ones that get real viral, they're on PC. These what was that article a month ago? The friend slop, the co-op.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like those are on PC. They do not go to console as a rule, unless it's Among Us.
They're also not premium priced games.
Well, exactly, right? So you can buy more games.
Fortnite has a skin for characters from Peak to come out recently, and the skin costs 3 times as much as the actual game Peak.
Holy cow.
Oh, man. It's all, and I told you this, but I love that there's a skin in a game where you can shoot them, and the characters in Peak are children. They are kids. Oh.
Silver, you like shooting children?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
She's an awful person, everybody.
She is a kaiju monster.
Come in and say that and leave.
But
she's a bad person. She's she's starting to try to make a group with an interesting logo and growing a tiny mustache.
Oh.
I'm writing a book.
Writing a book. My struggle.
She's writing a book in jail.
It's not well written, but it gets people excited.
And yet it's still not.
I think people too often try and rush to Cop Crew says she loves Pete. People too often try to rush to being Nostradamus and predicting the future. And sitting here and go, I know what's going to happen. There is a crash coming and everything's falling apart. I can't say that for certain. I lack the foreknowledge of a superstar like a Miss Cleo, if you will.
Uh-huh.
But I could tell you things don't look good in the industry. They don't. The numbers don't look good. Nintendo, who's classically normally fine, reducing production on Switch 2s?
Yeah.
Well, and so early into its life. I mean, what, a year and a couple months?
The console that's supposed to be succeeding the winner, the PlayStation 5, is increasing its price after 5 years being in the market. Does that scream healthy?
No,
or are they just trying to squeeze as much water out of that stone as they possibly can? Because they're not getting the return on their investment that they kind of need.
And it's interesting too, like, because Nintendo, their whole thing is games, right?
Sure.
Sony now, I mean, gaming is a big part of their company. It didn't used to be as big. They had so many other things going on 20, 30 years ago. But now it is a major part of their business. Microsoft is the only one where, like, if Xbox goes away, well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything bad for Microsoft. Although we know now that Microsoft is also having problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know, the fact, because when Xbox is doing badly, you just kind of write it off as like, yeah, well, it's the sideshow for them. Like, they don't really care. They were happy to operate at a loss, but now that Sony, where PlayStation has become a major moneymaker for them, like that, it's an important part of their business. It's not 1998 anymore, where they're deciding to jump in and make some money in the gaming business. But you know what? We still got the TVs, the Vios. Oh my God, the movie industry's huge for us. Well, those are long gone. And the fact that they are failing to, I don't know, meet the demand or meet the market where it wants to be is not a good sign. It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, there is a disconnect from what the companies are producing and what the market can handle.
Yeah.
There just is. And where that goes is going to be a big question, because there's going to have to be a reset where stuff just is going to have to dump in price or become cheaper or not as big and over the top and expensive. When classically, more graphics, more expensive, more faster hardware was always the direction everything was going. It's like, that's not necessarily something that needs to be true.
No.
I mean, we're talking about doom and gloom about the industry, but let's be honest. Really good games have come out, but they're not AAA.
No.
Right.
No.
Right.
They're not full price AAA.
Yeah, that either.
$20,
yeah,
$30, $40 games.
Yeah, I mean,
it's one of those
ahead.
things where you said obviously we can't forecast the future, but we can make some educated guesses. And I'm going to guess that if the industry doesn't take a good hard look at itself and just expects to continue operating in the manner that it has operated in for the past forever, that we might see a crash. That we might see a lot of these companies.
It feels like it.
Yeah. That we might see a lot of these companies, filing for bankruptcy and selling off assets, and a whole bunch of stuff like that is
bought up by China.
But the thing is that I don't think they're so far gone in that direction that they can't take a good hard look at themselves and say, you know what, there's a bunch of things that we can do to make sure that we're not going to run into this problem. I think that we've mentioned a lot of them, using their budgets wisely and analyzing the market and seeing what games are maybe oversaturated, what type of games are oversaturated, and
Jason,
looking for places where they can.
This sounds like a reasonable direction that companies should and probably should be doing. That there's no rationality with the decision making they do.
You're right.
I'll remind you, Sony spent hundreds of millions on a game that did so poorly they pulled it from shelves. We just had a High Guard that wasn't even like pandering or woke or DI, whatever. It was just bad. It was a bad game that no one wanted to play.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, how much did Sony pay for Destiny? What was it, like $3 billion?
Yeah.
Oh, not Destiny, Bungie.
Yeah.
And what's that got? A Marathon, a middling at best extraction shooter.
There's people are arguing about what's going on with Marathon lately, because there's been some rumors that a lot of Marathon hype is being propped up by shills and bots and stuff. There's no evidence for that, and it's like, even if it's not true, Marathon should be a banger of its. Like, look, I was there when Destiny came out. I didn't care for it. And then Destiny 2 came out, and I still didn't care for it. Now we got Marathon, which I think it feels like its reputation sounds worse than the Destiny games are. At least the hype is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because look, I didn't like Destiny 2 very much. I played Destiny, the first one. I enjoyed it, but I was playing it with my brother, so take that with a grain of salt. I didn't keep playing it, so that also says something.
When
but
you stopped co-oping, you stopped.
yeah,
Me too.
Yeah.
the hype for Destiny was undeniable.
Absurd, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like there was no question about whether it was grassroots or not. People were genuinely excited about it.
I knew people who bought PlayStation 4s just to play Destiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Battlefield 6, people were genuinely excited for it. Now, I think Destiny was way more hyped. I don't know. Battlefield 6 was people were really excited because after 5 and 2042, people were
And
ready
all of the
for
Call
a
of
back to
Duties.
basics. Yeah. Like people were ready for a new Battlefield 6. They were ready for a Battlefield that was more like the old ones, and so people were hyped. I was one of them. And it. I don't think there was any question about whether that hype was legitimate or not. People figured, people are excited. Whereas this, I mean, there's been streamers who have been like defending it like really blatantly on their stream. Like, well, don't shit all over it because if you do that, we just get Call of Duty 35. It's like,
Well,
what?
this was the excuse when it came to Star Trek. Watch it and support it, not because you like it, but because if you don't, we won't get more bad Star Trek.
Yeah. Oh, thank God.
Like, you just have
Yeah,
to support it because.
Just cause.
Right.
It's better.
Right. It's like we don't want bad Star Trek. We want good Star Trek. We need to not support bad Star Trek so they'll get good Star Trek. The thing isn't we have to support bad Star Trek to get more bad Star Trek. That's, the logic is just not there, people.
Well, sure, but I it's more of an example of
Right.
mirroring it to the
And-
gaming industry.
I think it goes for the same with gaming. We need to not support bad games, so they will not, so they will focus on trying to figure out what makes a game good.
The thing is, I don't think they could
And-
figure it out because we aren't supporting bad games. I mean, look at Starfield. We like it did badly because it was bad,
Yeah.
and they spent
Yeah.
way too much money making Starfield. And I don't think they learned any lessons from that.
Mm-mm.
I think they think, well, the next game we got to spend more money and get it. If we spend more money, then we'll get it right. It's almost like gambling. I lost some money, so I'm going to put more in so that my return can be bigger, and then I lose more money. And it's that addiction circle where if I just keep committing more money, that eventually it'll pay off. And it's not. It's not paying off. You're not making good games. And I don't even know if they have the rational capability in their pea brains to understand how to make a successful game anymore. And I'm not just talking fun, just good or successful. Like Starfield is just boring. It's all of the things he wanted. It's the Peter Molyneux throw everything at the board. Look at all these possibilities of what you could do in this game. You could do this, this, and this. And you get there and it's just empty space horseshit. It's all I wanted to do was make a spaceship and put a crew in it. I wanted to be a Star Trek captain. That's all I wanted from Starfield. And I end up wandering around being involved in like the circular world thing of you get reborn into a new world to redo the cycle to blah blah. And it's terrible. Ew, gross. I don't like it. Ew.
Starfield was so fascinating because it comes out and on paper it's like, oh, this, like you said, this is everything that is what we want. And then you start playing it and you go like,
Skyrim
oh
in
my
space.
God, this feels so old. It's so dated. I mean, you just didn't do anything since Skyrim? Just nothing. We're just doing the same old thing. Oh, okay. Well, this is really boring. Like, god damn. I mean, so much so, Brett, do you remember when after I tried Starfield, I went to the Outer Worlds and I was just, even though that game is mid as hell.
Yes. It is so much more character and color and interest. Starfield was almost dull in its like designs of everything. It's like space people, yay.
Yep.
Outer Worlds is like, well, we're quirky, weird people. I was like, oh my gosh, there's just interesting stuff to look at.
My God, they have character. They are characters.
They're
Good
all
Lord.
characters. Hey, everybody, we're going to artificially try and create emotion in this game by picking whatever character you have the closest relationship with and killing them partway through the game. Not decision based upon story or anything, chosen mostly because you have the closest relationship with that. A pandering, manipulative way to get you really emotional and upset because the one character you developed your romance with gets murdered. But guess what? Those characters don't have personalities. And the one character that got murdered, I didn't actually like that much. And I kind of was glad she died because I could pick a better character, or at least somebody I thought was more attractive. Does that make me a bad person? No, because these characters aren't real. They have no
Just
feelings.
like my android wife.
Just like my android wife. I punch because I care.
That's right.
I would like Silver to say things. Silver,
Oh,
how you doing,
Don't
champ?
sound so disappointed. Jesus.
I'm so disappointed.
You holding together there, Bucko?
Oh, barely.
How
Anyway,
you
gang.
doing? How you doing there, little camper?
You doing
How's it
alright?
going, Slugger?
You
You
doing
doing all
all
right
right,
there,
Slugger?
champ?
Did you miss the
You-
part where I started singing in the beginning? don't wanna
I did,
wait
actually.
for our
yeah.
lives to be over.
Repeat the entire thing for me.
What will it be? Silver. I actually changed the lyrics to be about. I wrote the lyrics to be about the podcast. My original song,
Ooh.
Don't Steal.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
I don't want to wait for this podcast to be over. I'm sure listeners really love my dulcet tones when I sing.
Oh, how could they
I know,
not?
that's why I insist on you singing.
Cap Crew says maybe they hit the infrastructure gap. AI is not ready for to tailor gaming experiences. It's not, and they ran
No.
out of ideas
No.
of new mechanics or plots to appeal to the gaming population. Well, that's a major fault on their end, and if the AI is going to rescue them, then that is a desperate ploy. I mean, there are quite a few industries that are struggling, and they're hoping AI will bridge the gap of production to suddenly dramatically increase productivity. A lot of industries are betting on AI, sort of skyrocketing a lot of industries. It hasn't paid off yet. And if you're gambling on we make bad games, hopefully AI will fix that. That's to tell you from somebody who watches the market a lot, AI has been aggressively invested in, and it's early for it to actually take over and improve productivity. It's way too early.
Yeah.
And we might, especially like Microsoft, may have gone too hard on AI, and they're not getting the returns they're hoping for.
Yeah.
Well, not only
Um,
that, but nobody wants the AI to be that intrusive yet.
Sure, involved, but it's not even like improving productivity in workplaces.
Right. But we were talking earlier about Microsoft basically trying to crowbar AI into every nook and cranny of the Xbox experience, and we're like, ew, that sounds really bad. Let's not do that. But
Yeah, through Copilot, sure. They've actually got a lot more problems with their AI behind the scenes than Copilot.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Copilot has been so successful. They've tried to, reduce what it does in Windows, but really just double down in the Xbox world there.
Anyway, doom and gloom, the industry's crashing, yada, yada, yada.